Hi everyone, welcome to round 4 from Doncaster. After that epic long game, I've sadly had to re-record this video because I overwrote it by mistake, which usually doesn't matter because I've usually uploaded it, but for some reason it wouldn't upload. So the one time it actually fails to upload, it makes me have to do this stupid thing again. I mean, I had to cancel it because it was on the time was just going up and it wasn't doing anything. And as soon as I cancelled it, the other videos which were queued actually started uploading really fast, so it's not good. So I've got to do this rubbish game again. Yeah, so after that game v Brendan, I ended up wandering around Barcher with him and his mate. Barcher was where the place was held. And ended up in some pub where I resisted the alcohol. And then bumped into Phil and we found this decent chippy where I devoured on a delicious chicken and mushroom pie and chips. But I had to leave a few chips because I was already running late for the game. And I was playing this guy called Peter Hepworth. And it was using all grades, so he was down as 132, but he has shot up to 154 and was supposedly very underrated. And he played D4, and his dad Nigel runs the famous Huddersfield Casino rapid play. I played D5, knight f3. As usual, I never get C4 directly because people are probably scared of the Albin or something. Bishop f5. I had a plan of getting the bishop outside of the pawn chain to try and punish white for not checking out with 2 knight f3. C4, C6, and if white tries to punish black for this, then with queen b3, then I think you can just play queen b6, and as long as you watch out for the b5 square, then black should be fine with the a5. Was good dynamic conversation for the structural damage. Then we should have some normal developing moves. White's opening has been rather unambitious, so black's fine here. I took knight b6. I don't like the bishop deployment to f4 due to black's grip on d5, meaning tempo gains are possible as a result. So now bishop d3. So I just happy to trade my bad bishop. Knight bd5. Now e4 can't be played due to the bishop becoming on prise, so bishop g3. Now e4 is coming, so what should I do? I play queen b6. Trying to punish my opponent for having the bishop on g3. If you recall, there's a game where I lost to the Slav really fast with bishop from g3. I should have just played this. And black has a good game. After queen b6, he castled, and of course only a fool would take on b2, so yep. It doesn't lose by force, but with my king still 2 moves away from castling, it's not good at all. Takes, I take back. b1. Take an a2 as well, which is just stupid. Should have played queen c3, but nonetheless, this continuation is not good. Okay, I get his bishop, but I'm probably going to drop a pawn. There's pressure on the 7th rank. It's just not a nice position. Queen takes a2, rook takes b7. So I've got this past a pawn as a trump, but after bishop e7, he should have struck while the iron was hot. My king's still in the centre, and my knight's also protecting my bishop, so if he can dislodge my knight, then I can never castle. So we should have just played simply e4, knight b4, queen moves back, and then a5, and then knight e5. Black can't castle due to the loose bishop on e7, and all this pressure for one teeny weedy pawn. This is unpleasant, if not lost for black. h3, queen a3, trying to get the queens off, although white's best move actually is to take him off, surprisingly. Instead, well, he was playing like really ridiculously fast, and he played this like instantly, this sacrifice. Maybe he was thinking he was winning my queen for some reason, but I used to take with the queen. He actually should have took the queens because he gets so much pressure. If bishop b4, which looks the most logical, he plays e4, winning the piece. Bishop e7, knight e5, and what is we getting a pawn of interest? Rook takes, queen takes, knight e5, knight b4, so okay, now we resume. Sorry about that. Yep, so he's played knight b4 after queen e4. I castled, so I correctly offer c6 to get back at my king to safety. And he would have to swap his also swap his strong knight off then, so he correctly doesn't take and plays f4. Now white uses a Stonewall type formation to throw resources at my king. The knight is very annoying and I can't play f6 due to the fork on g6. Queen e6, trying to get d5 square for the queen and force white's queen back, because of course the queen exchange was bad for white. Rook f3 was played. f5, e takes f5, queen takes f5, queen e6, queen h5, and after a5 it is remarkably hard for white to make progress with his attack. Black can just play knight b4 to d5 to f6 as well, and the foot soldier in the meantime is going to run up the board supported by the rook. And white will eventually have to abandon the attack to stop it, and then black's extra material will prevail. Rook f3, queen d5, and queen b1, otherwise white may as well resign. a5, there is no real danger yet, so the pawn runs forward, potentially gaining the tempo if it reaches a2. f5, white goes all in. E takes f5, f6 is also sufficient, because the knight on g6 isn't that strong. It actually gets in white's way, as you're going to see. This kills off white's attack once and for all. And if he takes, then the a pawn is way more dangerous than the e pawn. E takes f5, rook takes f5. I played queen a2, queen e6 is better. After rook f3, f6, knight g4, king h8, queen g6, knight d5. If bishop f4, then we just take it off, and a4, and white has no way to continue the attack, and the a pawn went to black. If he tries knight takes h6, then we just ignore it, because if we take, of course, we get mated actually. Or we can play a3. Or queen e8 and then just that is curtains. Queen a2, and the strongest move is actually to take it and then take on c6, but this is hardly a human decision. Black doesn't have to worry about his king now, and a pawn's just going to run up the board because it's supported by the rook, which is good as well because rooks belong behind passed pawns. Queen d1, a4, the pawn takes another step. Bishop f4. This is actually a blunder, even though it was a very sneaky, subtle move. I expected queen h5, but black can actually play a3 and defends f7, and white's actually has some desperate counter attack now with knight g4, check, king h2, and rook a8. The a pawn means that black can sack material to stave off some mates because he is getting a full 9 points as long as he doesn't blunder his king. Some examples: white has a few tries. On his bishop d6, trapping the rook. Black plays a2, so ignores it, and after rook a5, the beautiful move is c5, because if queen's immediately, this isn't quite as clear, because the rook's trapped as well. Black will still build material on that, but c5 is just winning. Bishop takes f8, rook takes f8, queen takes c5. If white tries sacking, then the queen gets back. And this then, knight c2 wins material in the game. If white tries the incredible move rook f6, hoping black takes it, we just ignore it with rook e6. a2 isn't quite as clear. Well, it wins, but it's harder to calculate because then white throws this in, we have to take it, then we have to play that. And this, we actually have to give our queen up with check to win. And then we also have to take this as well, because if we move our king, then we get mated. So we take that as well, and then white's actually up material now, but the a pawn's going to win. But this is unnecessary risk, and there's perpetual check ideas as well. So we just play rook e6. After knight takes a6, she takes a6, rook takes e6, then queen takes a6. Threatening bishop e5 and queen g7 mate. We have to bring our queen back and drop e6 with check, but the king soon slithers away. If we go this way, we get mated, so we have to go this way. Yeah, and the king slips away, and the two black queens will combine to chomp on the white king. Another futile attempt is rook a5, trying to get the rook behind the passed pawn, but you just play a2, and after the sack, we cut the rook off g5 with this beautiful move, c5. If he takes it, then we go f6, and that is the end of attack. And the white's rook's been deflected off a1. And if bishop e5, we just take it, bring the queen back. And now we're going to win e5 with check as well. And bishop d6 again, we play queen g6, bring the queen back, stack the exchange back. And black is a piece up with a pawn about to queen and is clearly winning. So queen h5 was futile as well, but bishop f4 just like the simple win with queen e6, which bringing the queen back into the defences wins on the spot. And this was nothing white can do. But I didn't play that, I played knight d5. And now white sacked on h6. This actually doesn't quite save the game, but it is a great practical move. I saw it just after I played knight d5 and thought in the time he took to play it that I could take it and then maybe sack something back and run the a pawn through, but of course don't just assume, calculate. And I had enough time on my clock left. So now in this position you win with knight e7, rook moves, and then knight g6. And the best move is, well, the trickiest move is queen d3, but knight takes g6 is too easy for black, I think. Move the king out of the way. Rook takes g7, hangs the bishop, so we'll take here, check. Take this, move the rook to defend, sack that back, and then a3 and the pawn runs through and black's a rook up as well. So rook h6, hoping black takes it, but now the queen enters the defence with decisive effect. And that's lost. White has 3 pawns for the rook, but the black's a pawn still is gonna queen. So white can try queen d3. Then we have rook a b8, nice beautiful move, threatening queen b1, check and liquidating. If g takes h6 is a blunder because that's a draw. So he moves his king to stop that. We play check anyway, so this anyway, he has to move his queen. We play this, takes here, and now we still can't take an h6 because we still have the sack. Or alternatively. So rook b6 has to be played. So we actually give the a pawn up, but we just win the bishop now because there's no rook takes g6 and black's a rook up for 2 pawns. Should win fairly easily. But I blundered and took it. And now after queen g4 I thought I could escape the draw for some reason, but now my king is so exposed. If king h8, then queen h5, this quite move draws. Knight takes f7 is actually quite draw because we can sack the and then we can bring the queen back into the defence. We're still a knight up with that passed a pawn. Queen h5. I'd see in this check, and it's just if we move the king, it's just going to be a draw. White just sacks everything, sacks the knight, the rook for the knight, and then perpetual. Black can radically try stacking the queen for the rook, but the queen and knight are too strong, so although white can't stop the pawn, this is a material advantage. It's just an easy draw. It draws and this draws. But I played king h7 and he played queen e4, which is a blunder. And I'll explain why it's a blunder in a couple of minutes. I blundered again, a treble blunder now with king g7. King h8 goes into a drawing line. After rook h5, I have to play knight f6. If I try and defend the pawn with king g7, then I get mated by either this or this. No way to stop the threats. So I play knight f6. Rook takes h6, king g7. If king g8, queen f5 is mating.
have to play this to make sure the knight's protected. And he sacks the rook. This shows how powerful queen and knight are. White is 2 rooks behind, but this queen and knight are too strong, and I have to be careful not to get mated. I have to check if I try and run here, then get mated by either this or this. So I have to go to g7 and then check, and the king goes back and forth in g6 to h7, h6 to g7. Because if I go to, h6 to g6, because if I go to g7, I get mated by that continuation we saw earlier. But then I play king g7, and then if we go back to this position, the reason king h7 was a blunder was because white has the move rook takes f7, rook takes f7, check, a mate. That's how the game ended. Not good. There's a different line in this actually, because after rook takes f7 I can run to f8, but he just takes an f7 with mate with the queen instead. So I get mated on f7 by the queen on the knight. Not good. The mate mentioned earlier was found, and I sat there for a few minutes in disbelief that I'd actually lost this position. After that dodgy pawn grab, I played really well, but I'll have this nice finish. I should have seen queen e6. He attacks the rook and brings back the most powerful piece into the defence, and then the a pawn wins, but it was not to be. Now I need to win the last 2 games. If I do, I get 50% in the open, and after having to play an FM in round 1, this will still be a decent return. I was fuming though after this epic swindle, but credit to my opponent for finding these resources. After all, it is rapid play, so there be blunder. But anyway, please leave any comments and thoughts. Thanks very much.